How's it going, Star Seekers? My name's Gotcake, and welcome to this review of Bomberfox. Now this review is going to be a little different though, as I'm not actually going to be reviewing it. Instead, Ole Gamer Joe from the YouTube channel I Dream of Indie is going to be covering off this title. If you've never heard of I Dream of Indie, then I suggest you go and check them out. They've got a great channel which covers a ton of different indie games across several different platforms, and I'll leave a link to their channel in this video's description. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Ole Gamer Joe, and let's get into the review.
Hello Star Seekers or indie game fans, I'm Ole Gamer Joe, and I was invited by Gotcake to come here to Star or Shovelware and review Bomberfox for you. I'm really excited to be here on the channel, just as Gotcake was on ours, youtube.com/idreamofindie, helping to bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming. Bomberfox is on the Nintendo Switch, available right now for a price of $4.49 at discount at the time of this review. Normally the game is priced at $4.99, that's for North America, and it's essentially a Bomberman style game. It has some arcade elements to it as well, and up to 4 players can participate in the versus mode. There's also a campaign, however, as I'll get into, which you can go through with one other player. Bomberfox doesn't really feature much of a storyline here. You play as a cyborg named Fox, and you can also unlock some new skins the more and more that you play the game, and essentially you're in a robotic tournament and just trying to win. That's really all there is to this one. Throughout that main campaign, which consists of around 60 levels, you'll find yourself dealing with various tasks, but the goal is generally the same. Whether you're trying to get to an exit, or you're trying to take out all of the enemies on screen, you need to use bombs in order to destroy things. As you drop bombs and try to destroy blocks and enemies that are in your way, you'll have a little bit of time to get out of the way, because if you are in the blast radius, obviously it's going to do damage to you. You have a few hit points in this game, and you can upgrade your character as you go through the campaign, but you want to be careful not to take damage and to make sure that you time the bomb so that it hits enemies at the right moment. The game does throw a few curveballs into the mix, including blocks which you'll have to bomb, get out of the way of, and have them blast forward a few times so that they trigger a switch, and this will allow you to exit certain rooms. Or you might have to blow up enough enemies or objects to unlock trophies in the center of a room, and then you'll have to carefully go and collect those. But again, the goal is always pretty much the same. You use those bombs, you try to destroy things, and you try to get to an exit or meet an ultimate goal. One thing I have to give Bomberfox a lot of credit for is having a ton of levels, and there's even some sub-campaigns for you to go through. These feature robotic rabbits for you to contend with. They'll try to kill you as you try to bomb your way through levels, and it does offer up a little bit of variety from the mundane basic bombing. There's a survival mode, which is exactly what it sounds like, an exit mode, a collect mode, a boss mode, an elimination mode. There's just a lot of modes in this game, but unfortunately, it doesn't really feel like it matters because the game's not all that fun to play. Yes, you can earn upgrades throughout the campaign that can increase your speed, but regardless, I still feel like this game is too slow. It feels very sluggish, it feels completely stuck in mud if I'm being honest with you, and that sucks a lot of the energy and fun out of this title. I'm a big fan of packing a lot of content into a game, especially when they don't charge you for it, but unfortunately when the core gameplay is lacking, it makes it a little less meaningful. Enemies follow really boring patterns, and again, the sluggish movement just slows down the whole feel of this game. That's definitely the weak point of Bomberfox. If it just moved a little bit faster, yes, there are some markers on the ground, the green ones of which will speed your character up, but even then, the game still feels really slow to me. I just couldn't get into the feeling of this one. As I explored a bit of the co-op features with my partner, they weren't having very much fun with this one either. They agreed that the game just feels sluggish. It doesn't feel fun. That's really the main takeaway here. The game doesn't feel fun whatsoever, and that's a real bummer because there are a lot of modes, and this had the potential to be a really fun experience if they had just tightened up the gameplay and made it more responsive. Graphically, Bomberfox does have a sci-fi aesthetic, which on paper sounds great, but as you look at it, you realize it's just kind of bland, it's kind of boring, and yes, there are colors, but they're not very vibrant, the characters don't look all that interesting, the enemy designs are boring. This game really lacks personality. That's the best way that I could sum up the presentation here. There's no real cool effects or anything like that. The bomb explosions themselves are just kind of boring. This one just doesn't do anything in terms of presentation to stand out or make it look interesting. I can't be completely negative on Bomber Fox though, because it does feature a really bumpin' soundtrack that I enjoyed quite a bit. Some nice rockin' tunes here, some good techno beats, hard hitting, definitely fits the presentation and the concept of this game well, but unfortunately the graphics aren't there to have the soundtracks back, and as I mentioned, the gameplay comes up really short here. So what are you left with Bomber Fox? Well, you're left with a mediocre Bomberman clone, and unfortunately I don't really recommend this title because Bomberman in a lot of different forms does it better. When you have a series that has titles like Bomberman 64, Super Bomberman, Bomberman Tournament, there's just so many better options here, and there's even clones out there that are better than this one. I was really hoping that this game would be the bomb, but instead it blew up in my face. So will you be checking out Bomber Fox on the Nintendo Switch? Let us know in the comments section below. Thank you once again to Star or Shovelware for having us here at the channel. We were so excited and happy about this. We're glad that it finally came together. Join us on our campaign if you so wish, youtube.com/idreamofindie. We are helping to bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming.